everyone, Bethany here. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. We do this every month if we can. It is hosted by Jen Schoolcraft, and we have a technique and a theme that we can choose from. The technique that I chose was a technique I've never used before, which is Joseph's coat, and the theme this month is butterflies. So I have an idea in my head, and I'm not sure if it's going to work at all, but we are going to still try it anyways. I want to try a double resist technique, and I have this really cute Floating on Dreams photopolymer clear stamp set from Maker Forte, and these butterflies are gorgeous, so we are going to start with that. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to place a few butterflies more towards the center. This is an A2 size card front, and I have already put down embossing powder. If you can't see it on the screen, I did it while it was already on the mats, hence why it's a little messy on the mats. My poor stamparatus will need a definite cleanup after this. So now that I have them placed right where I want them, I'm going to go ahead and use the Color Hive Remarkable ink, which is a black ink. Ink them up really good. And then using my smushing tool, I'm going to try to get the best impression that I can get the first time around. If I have to go back, I have to go back. I just love these butterflies. They are so pretty though. As soon as I saw them unveil this stamp set, I said, I have to have that one. And I already knew about this card hop at the time. And it was just a given that this stamp set somehow was going to make it into my design. The fuller wings are not behaving as much as the little details, which is interesting. Usually it's the opposite. Alright, much better. Now I'm going to heat emboss. Not clear, like you may see for a typical Joseph's coat. I am actually going to use Holographic embossing powder from Ranger. And this is because some of this will be blended in eventually, but the rest won't. So I want it to pop out. And like I said, this may not even work, so we're still going to give it a try. Because it has a glitter in the powder, I'm going to heat from behind first, so the glitter doesn't start flying everywhere. When you're working with the holographic, you will know it's done when it goes back to the original color with sparkle added. Now what we're going to do is we are going to start blending with our full color. So I'm going to start with the Lady Liberty Green. And I don't have a specific plan for what's going to go where. I'm just going to start throwing color places. The one thing I like about the Color Hive inks is they are super vibrant. When that ink goes down, there's a lot of ink, and it's really pretty. And I will set that aside. I'm going to change over to the grape. This may be my favorite purple ink ever. Now we're going to go with Yellowstone, which is probably the prettiest yellow too. It is very vibrant. And going to the Vegas strip and landing with some Pink Flamingo, which I think this is my most used Color Hive ink yet. I use it for a lot. And I'm going to blend back a little bit of the Yellowstone because I smooshed my blue in a little too much in the corner here. Now this is the tricky part, because in my head this will work. In reality it may not work. I have this slimline stencil, and it looks like a butterfly wing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to place it over the card front, and using some painter's tape, I'm going to tape down the edges really making sure that when I go to do this, it will work. Once I let the ink dry a little bit, I'm going to use the Color Hive Clear Embossing ink, and I am just going to put as much of it as I possibly can over the stencil. The concept is to get as much of the color from the area where the wings are going to be, or this big large wing, saved. And I'm going to go over it a couple of times just to make sure I have as much embossing ink as possible. Just because I want to really make sure this technique works. Because in my head, like I said, it is really cool. Alright, so now I can see the lines. That's a good sign. Now I am going to grab my clear embossing ink, and I'm going to cover where those wings, and I can see where some of the ink is still a little wet on the other side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to individually grab a tiny brush. I love using this dual tip powder brush from Maker Forte. It's just perfect for little tasks like this. Because even though I thought my ink was dry, apparently it was not dry enough. And for the resist to really work, I need it to be fully dry. So don't make my mistake and get too impatient. See, now this is proof that even if you do mess up on your technique, there's always a way to save it. And some of these parts of the wings will end up looking a little more distressed, but that's okay too. I like that look anyways. Alright, so now I'm going to heat emboss again. Once the embossing powder is completely set, then we are going to go ahead and blend back the black. I'm going to clear off my desk again though before I do that. Instead of using a blending brush, I'm just going to go ahead and streak it up with some black. And I am going to just cover the whole entire project with black. I like doing it this way just because I'm going to get a little bit of texture in the black too, which is going to end up looking really pretty as well. This is not necessarily the conventional way to do it. I don't know that I've ever seen anyone else do it, but I'm sure someone has. This is the way I interpreted how to do this technique. And like I said, it could be an epic fail. And I could be like, oh, this is the worst thing ever. I'm never trying this technique again. Or it could be, and it could end up just being so gorgeous that I'm like, I have to use this technique all the time. That is a possibility as well. All right, now that I've gotten pretty much full coverage and I've inked up my fingers, now I'm going to take my microfiber and I'm going to start buffing off the wings. What happens is that clear embossing powder will have saved that color underneath. And what's even cooler is that the initial stamping I did with the butterflies, that will still pop out even more. So yes, there's a little bit of distressing that happened because of my faux pas, but I am super thrilled with the results. This is even more gorgeous in person, and the technique I will definitely be using again. So let's go ahead and assemble a card with this. So here I have what I like to call a messy background cleanup scrap piece of paper that I basically, anytime I'm cleaning up my glass mat, I like to grab as much color left over on the mat itself and see what kind of creation I can get out of it. So that's what this is, and it's just a little bit of color already there for me. So it's not stark white, and the sentiment I picked was also from the same butterfly stamp set, and it says, "Without change, there would be no butterflies." I think that's a very positive message for someone going through something a little tougher and harder to handle, and they don't want to have the change, and it's something that'll help uplift them. And I'm going to use the same Remarkable ink, using my smushing tool. Give it a double impression. Even though the first one was pretty good, just want to make sure there's as much ink there as possible because we'll be doing another embossing powder. And I'm going to go with the holographic again. Now I've knocked around my camera a little bit. So this background the messy background I created does have a it has been dry for several days, so I'm not terribly worried about the ink sticking to that, or the embossing powder sticking to that. And let's go ahead and heat it up. I'm thinking that I want it popped up right here, but I'm gonna add a little bit more purple. So just grabbing the blending brush, I'm not adding anything more. Just going to bring in just a hair more color. And then grabbing the leftovers of my blue here. A little bit there. A little bit of the green. Just so it ties in. And a smidge of the yellow right here. And then to really make the embossing powder pop again, I'm just going to take off the excess on top of the embossing powder. And now I'm going to go ahead and assemble. I have an A2 size card base that I created with the 110-pound Maker Forte white cardstock. We're just going to add some glue. I ran out of my fancy art glitter glue, and it is on order, but I have to use what I already have until I can make it through. And hopefully I will get my glue soon. They said it was already shipped, but I'm waiting in anticipation and using my smaller, more intricate detailed glue instead, which is fine. It just does not respond like the other glues I use. So this is a make it happen moment. And I will pop this one up on, it's very thin foam tape from the Dollar Tree, and they don't sell it anymore. And you can tell I'm almost done with my roll. So once this one is gone, I will be on the hunt for thin foam tape. This is probably the thinnest I've seen anywhere. I don't even think it's a 1/16 inch or thick. And there you have the beautiful Joseph's coat with butterflies result. So thank you for joining in today's experiment. If you're new here, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I will have the link down below for the next video on the card hop, and I hope to see you very soon. Have a wonderful day, and don't forget to also check down below for links, any links possible for the products I use, and also for our family's little shops and other channels. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you soon. Bye!